I don't really have anything to say that I know of yet. But I'm definitely feeling a draw to be with you to talk.
What do you mean? I understand the draw to be with me, but to talk. What do you mean you have a draw to be with me to talk? You mean there is something specific that you don't want to talk about here?
No, I think that it's actually in the story of the past. There's just been a lot going on, and the fear to speak with you about it, but well, especially while it's happening. So I don't know. I think it's just opened the
I'll tell you when the past is not the past. When it is alive in your energy field now. When it is something that feels like a disturbance now, even though it may arise out of a story of the past, the stickiness is present. Then laying language to it is helpful. Then it is not in the past, it's in the present. What's going on?
well, at the moment it feels like it's in the background, but it is still present. That there's just it's an emotion, but it feels it's vulnerable and
What is it about?
I feel like some feeling of like failure. I don't really know. I can't, it's like,
Here is the short of it. Remaining still to get away from something that is active and uncomfortable is not remaining still, it is getting away from. Remaining still is remaining still. And in not indulging the habit that drives the constant distraction, all of these latent pieces surface. It is not about indulging what surfaces with a story, and it is also not bolting from it by trying to access what is in no relationship with it. It is just to remain still.
That's, really what I feel like I've been doing.
Yes, I'm speaking for everyone. Now, the thing about it is the grace in the surfacing lies in the potential of seeing the joke. The emotion can feel so strong, but it does not mean that it's not a joke. This really intense emotion that you are failing. What bigger joke is there than that?
Well, of course it feels very real. Just, I know intellectually that isn't the case.
I'm not talking about intellectually. I'm talking about in reality. The reason why it feels real is because of the intellectual process. The question is, what is real? Not intellectually, not as if I know what it is because I've done it before, because that's not real. Real is stripping everything prior away, knowing nothing, and looking to find who is failing. What is the entity? Who is the chooser that's choosing it wrong? Probably the greatest challenge. Well, there are two challenges that seem to be the most intense, and that is intense physical pain and intense emotional pain. But it's all a sham. What are the emotions affecting? They're affecting a story about me. What are they affecting other than a story about me? Who is failing when there is not the buying a story about me?
No one.
No one. What would you say to me if I said, Prasad, I've been teaching for 20 years. I really know this, but I feel like I'm failing. What would you do?
Say that's ridiculous.
That's
Papa.
right. That's exactly right. Every feeling that you feel, I feel. Every feeling that everyone in the room feels, I feel. What is the I that feels? It's everywhere. It's not a doer, but it is a receptacle. what is not a doer neither succeeds nor fails. It is. It is the same thing as saying my existence is failing to exist. There is all of this pain because of a belief that I am not really existing. I will tell you something, my friend. You are young and you are committed. You don't have to worry. And you can be guaranteed that worrying is going to come up. There has been very, very, very deep tastes for a young person. And then old familiar patterns return.
And also, it feels like part of the pull to come up is just to allow that there, I think just to be honest, it feels like an honesty about feeling challenged.
Yes, it is
vulnerable.
it is very important to be honest. There is no doubt about it. Hiding is the biggest mistake that can happen. So how is it that we are honest? Honesty says, I am experiencing a challenge. I don't exist. The challenge doesn't exist. I have no body. I am eternal. I am identified with something that is not real. I realize it's all only the beloved. There's nothing other than that. Yet the mind is spinning a story. Yet the mind is arising out of the beloved. The reality is I cannot find myself. There is just a bunch of sensation, none of which exists when I am equally everywhere. But I am not equally everywhere now. But that is all arising out of the self. What is the experience right now?
Just the taste of light.
Yes, of course. And subtly the mind says, now I have it. Before I was lost. But the I that has it and the I that was lost is all a myth. And the openings and closings is the divine wisdom that is wearing something down.
I'm feeling pretty worn down.
Body is feeling pretty worn down. And the habit of this word I is used. It has been a challenging period. There was a huge opening that lasted a long time, and now there is the arising of a phase of purging, which always happens after an opening. It is grace. The greatest thing that can be done in this is being honest. What is honest? There is no such thing that I am worn down. There is the awareness that there are sensations that the mind labels I, that the mind interprets as being worn down. That's all arising from who knows where. That's being honest. Now it is opening. Something that goes, when it opens. It's all mechanical. Everything that changes is mechanical. There is something unchanging. This is the truth of I. When you feel it, it is the only thing that is not away from you. The story of the character wants to feel it, but that's the mirage. That's the desire that gets worn into nothing. And when nothing is left, then the discovery of I remains unbroken. The grace is that the whole play is organized. When there is a readiness, it organizes itself around you just perfectly, so that everything that conditioning fears comes up, everything that is desired is taken, everything you don't want to face is faced. And the you that doesn't want and wants is the phantom that created the appearance of the struggle that pure love is eradicating. And there's only this moment. You don't have to try to be in this moment. The truth is, like what was spoken this morning by Sat, you cannot leave this moment. How can you leave this moment? There is a fatigue in the body. It has been a period of a burn. There is a great love and an honoring of the conviction. It is all in its right place. And the greatest grace of all is that the past only happened in imagination. What is going on right now?
feel grateful for you. And I feel compassion for myself.
A compassion for the machinery that creates the amnesia, that creates the suffering. But being honest, myself, it's to use these words honestly, to speak it if you know what it is. If you think you know what it is, you are in the mind's imaginings. Compassion arises out of the self. The compassion, which is the beauty, arises out of the self, which is yourself. It's not compassion for myself. It is discovered to be compassion from myself. Can you feel that?
I feel like that's kind of what I meant.
Yes. Well, that's beautiful. All of this love for you. Which is the same as saying all of this love for myself.
Thank you, Papa.
Prasad. For a long time, in this journey, I would look at Ramana and feel comparatively like a failure. It is an ingrained aspect that is alive in every single mindset. The thing about reality is the recognition that individuals are the myth of the mindset, and a guarantee in that experience is for every player there is going to be some way conditioned that I am failing. It is not unique, it is universal in the egoic mindset that the whole entirety of is a phantom. Your mind sees me as someone who has aspired to something, but it's all nothing but projection. You cannot know me until you know yourself. When you know yourself as me, and me as yourself. It is the case with the appearance of every player. It looks like someone is acting and someone is speaking. But if all of a sudden you were to be struck dead, there wouldn't be anyone acting and speaking. The thing is, you cannot be struck dead because there is no individual. Yet it appears, and the addiction to it is so great. And a guarantee is a story of failing. And the nature of every egoic construct will hold a carrot around that. It's all a charade. There's nothing unique. You know, before we exit, something is actually coming up around this piece of saying, if you were struck dead, this is exactly what it is like. Just to imagine if you suddenly died. You no longer could do anything. You are no longer responsible for anything. You could not find yourself. You are dead from the mind's idea. You no longer had a body. There were no longer troubles because you were wiped out of the equation. Yet the play remained. But this description is so limited because upon death all that dies is the misery. And then the beauty is everywhere, eternally. But you are nowhere to be found. Even though all the other players think you're somewhere, think you're doing something, think you're someone who has awakened to something.